I just had my Indo again, so I've been in bed, but I've just been getting so many downloads the last few days since Stonehenge about Mirror World, and yeah, I just sent Melissa a couple of videos about it because I'm in bed, so I didn't want to, I look like quite tired and that. And I'm struggling to get all this download out, but it needs to come out, so I need to post this now because there's so much in my head about it. I need to document it. So I was being shown like it's like a mirror with it, like a picture within a picture within a picture. And everyone's saying like simulation within a simulation within a simulation. We are in loads of different realms and realities, so it's like when you're looking into a mirror, you're looking into something that is false. Like if you actually think about how much you look in a mirror every day, or you know, if you're on your phone, like WhatsApp or whatever to someone, or FaceTime, or how much time do you spend like looking at yourself in comparison to how much you're intaking. So like what I'm looking at is this part of the brain where like your eye retina would intake shape and form, and then how it would like have a cognition and then spit out that information into, you know, what your like shape and form is, how you've been brought by shape and form of different frequencies that your memory's intaken and structured. And then however you perceive things at the moment would be how the amount of frequencies you've embodied, and then you'd like file it through a couple of them and then spit it out. So I'm just seeing as like when I do art, that is a mirror of myself. It's a mirror of my hue. And it's the same with like when women go to the supermarkets or kids go to a sweet shop, like it's the hue, it's like the shiny wrappers, and it gives them excitement, you know, like on all the chocolates or wrappers. And then when women go and buy cleaning products, you know, there's always like bright labels and things, or like the shape and form of that is different to other stuff. They make like some things exciting to pleasing to the eye, which is the facade, and then you're drawn in through that, you know, and then you subconsciously relate like that emotion or that feeling of the food to like the wrappers, or like how it's perceived, because the eyesight would like want it first and be drawn in first, which is why you get a lot of purple used on chocolate wrappers and things like that. And then you get a lot of luminous colours used on, you know, like bleach for toilets and stuff like that. So they're like taking the underlying layer of what we are, because the crystals would be like the oldest thing that Earth embodies, which would be crystal waters, frozen, plasma, frozen. It's not really frozen, it's not really hot, it's not really cold, it's like frozen, so it's fixed. It's a fixed set of waters which contain hue. So if they contain hue, then they're containing memory, which would be energy. And if everything is as it's present and it's all conjunct on top of each other like this, all the frequencies are like conjoined on top of each other. So that is then creating other layers of hue, which is like compressed. Because if everything is as it was level, so like the language again is like another shape and form structure within this realm that they've already structured and shaped and formed. So we're already taking all this realm, and then they've made another realm which is on flat, which is in all flat in these screens, which doesn't feel taste, it doesn't feel the sound, the frequency, like the clairvoyance, even though we do channel information through here, so it is all through living waters, which would be hue, which would be plasma, which would be the present. So actually the colour, the hue is all imprisoned, which is why in cities and that they only have it on, structured, like, or like nightclubs, they've had loud frequency and lighting and shapes, and then in top of shop signs, or if you look on a street in your memory, all you can see is colour on shops, and that is structured into text and into media. That is where the hue is. So the hue is actually trapped visually within our intake, and then we chew it up and then we spit it out on self when we look into a mirror, because a mirror is an extension of a dimension of self which isn't actually real, because it doesn't taste, it doesn't touch, it doesn't have, the memory bank, it doesn't have that. So in the mirror, it's an extension of self, which is a false reality. So our brain is actually being filled up with loads of false realities, and it's shattering a mirror through something. It's like a loophole within the way our programming is, to go then back to the subconscious, to let us know to intake in what the mirror is real at a deep belief subconscious level, which it actually isn't real. So then you're getting all these people with dementia and all these people with stress and all these people with these low frequency things, because they're actually looking at shattered dimensions which aren't actually coexisting, presently real, only a false reality to the mind which we accept to be real, which would be through time. And then I was thinking about art the other day, because I'm talking about astrology not being real, and it's all these programs within a program. But then art created time as well, because the fleur-de-lis is linked with time. The fleur-de-lis linked back to the ancient Egyptians, which was shedding soul awakening, shedding descent, said on here, that it's actually linked back to the flower of life and the tree. The tree of life. So the fleur-de-lis, and then I was getting visions of it actually, already linked with what you were talking about in that email to me, is past, present and future. I've got this up here painted by someone in Cambodia, and that's part of Angkor Wat, and there's an elephant in it, and yeah, elephants don't forget, do they? Elephant on here too. This is from India. So the people who painted that is the past, present and future. That's what them heads stand for in the Hindu temple. And the fleur-de-lis is linked with the military. But the military is like linked with time, because they're the ones that keep the time on the most things. When you think about it, present, because they're so like military time, and then they have to be like efficient, like stand at your bed at this time, and it's like that would give out a frequency, and then that is like, where we go one, where we go all, because the military will then take over that realm of time, which is another fixed energy within an energy. So actually there's all these fixed energies within this that we just need to like find the loopholes, like they're already finding the loopholes now to program us with, and then we come out of them loopholes and then we fix it. So we actually want to be living in the living waters, like cities and that are like structured dead living waters. So we're living within that, and we're drinking from stuff that's running through that, that's full of chemicals. So we actually want to be living in the environments that we want to mirror. So like my art is a mirror of myself. Art is a mirror of self. Like I say, 100 different people give 100 different reasons for looking at a painting. So we actually need to be able to people to detangle themselves with a weave of detanglement of self, which would be art, because of the branchness of everything and nothing at the same time, because everything is so fractured because of the mirror world. It's fractured. It's fractured parts of the brain, and then what our belief system is. So we need to give people back their own belief, and their own mirror of their own emotions and their own chords of frequency, to be able to unravel, and then we can ravel them back into one frequency, which would be the hue, which would be the crystalline, which would be, because that's all what we're vibrating off. And that's what's coming through here the strongest. That is the strongest level of it. So it would be love, because the rose quartz has the most hue in it. And then the colour of blood must hold all the memories as well, it's just compressed, and growing and growing and growing out of itself, but not in a good way, because the energy everything's absorbing is the opposite. So like even men, when they're going to work and they're taking in like all these machines and that, they're taking in that frequency, they're harnessing it away, and then that's adding into their life force, which is their sperm, that's making them want to go and keep having sex with other women. And then that's putting that energy into the womb of the earth, but then they're all living off, stuff is all living off the womb of the earth anyway, because everything's vibrating off the living waters and the hue and the colour as well. And then the women's blood is like repairing itself, and then this is causing a lot of pain. You know, where everything's trying to become one, hitting one frequency, then it's all stone crashing as well and having to eat up, you know, the core and the highest at the same time. So then it is literally fracturing into one. But you know, we have to go through these actual emotions and these memories to be able to lift it and transmute it. And that is, like I said, a way of understanding the frequency to then set it right again. It's like listening to an out of tune guitar. How are you going to know where to tune it unless you hit it untuned? Yeah, and then you're going to hear it tuning. You use your ears for that, the tuning. You know, and that is like, it's the same with our human instrument, with our auric field, with our mental, emotional. You know, they've created all these little egos. The way you'd react in front of a family member, the way you'd react in front of a friend or a lover, all these fractured, you know, vibrations of self that are mirroring from outside mirrors. Like the language is a shape and form that we're reading within another realm. So I already read this shape and form, and then language is a square structured shape and form. So we're mirroring everything that we're intaking, and then, like I said, we put it into the mirror and we spit it into self. And then that's not real, because the mirror doesn't soak up everything that is in there. It's not got all the taste and the five senses, so it's like a flattened fake dimension. Like I'm creating dimensions, so I'm capturing time, because art is the level of time, obviously, because people are doing the tarot cards and that, telling the past and the future through art. So if we just brought it back to a present art, then we wouldn't have time, and we wouldn't have the past or the present or the future, because it would all just be as it is present art. Because I keep feeling about all the stuff I'm creating, and I can't find the baseline again where I've evolved to what I want to be creating. And this is how I used to intake everything and then spit it out. Now I've become present. It's almost like it's quickened up here within myself. The art's gone within me. I am my own art. I've looked at myself as a piece of art, and I've understood how I could restructure and reshape me as an art piece, as an actual real mineral. You know, because all I did before was look at art out there and then recreate it into colour. So now all I'm looking at is out there, and I'm seeing myself equal with it. So I'm seeing myself as my own art. And it's like I've jumped gates, and now I'm physically trying to catch up with it. So what is this difference between time? Like when I moved the matter through the crystal, it didn't turn up till 8 hours later, so I'd pulled it from somewhere and I'd put it there from like somewhere else. Or like they say when you bang your head, maybe you'll feel the emotion of it hours later, like 8 hours later or something like that. There's like a gap. So what is this gap? We need to bridge it. Between the conscious and the subconscious is like a time difference. So is the time difference a slowed down frequency between our emotions and this? Is all these like filters? Is that all of our programming that we're trying to get through to actually relay out the time? Is that it? You know, and Dan Winter says about it, and he goes down to one wave. Our heart beats a wave. You know, is that why house music is so good to open the heart chakra? Because if you think of everyone's hearts beating at the same time right now, that is a beat, that is a frequency beat that is constant, that is probably the most. So if you're affecting how we feel and you're affecting that heart, then you're affecting that human resonance of frequency. Now everyone's like starting to reclaim their kind of emotions and do things like that. It's reclaiming that energy. So if we elaborated on that scale of it, if we elaborated on that scale of frequency and circulated it with intent, you know, with crowds of people, but the belief, we need to give back the belief, you know, and the hue and the crystals, and bringing it down to some baseline where everyone is connected, like at Stonehenge the other day. There were so many people like connected there on the same frequency because of the stone. Stonehenge, everyone that loves stones would have been there. So that was us bound at a cellular level, because that stone is full of plasma, you know, and that's where everyone was like putting their energy and that intent, and that place holds so much energy because everyone that goes there does put their energy and intent there. So that for that web of all that Stonehenge is just a pile of living waters of memory. I could see everyone's memory imprint that was there, but it's just a pile of rocks, really. But what is important is the belief they put there. The belief they put there, and the energy they've stored within that part of the earth is powerful because people put it there. Where your energy goes, it has grown because of how old it is and because of how much intent has been put there. It is real now. And that is the best energy. That's the energy I put into my art. It's that real baseline of belief, of creation. But yeah, right. A lot of love. And yeah, I'm getting so many downloads right now, and I'm trying to do the rest of this Indo endometriosis. So yeah, a lot of love. A lot of love.